Hey guys, this is Pimp here. I did it again, it's just Thorin's stupid YouTube channel.
So obviously shout out to anyone who buys some delicious GamerSupps, which was the one I was having. I was having the Sakura Splash one. I think this one's really nice. 10% off using the code Thorin at GamerSupps.gg. Shout out to anyone who indeed does buy some delicious GamerSupps. It's my favourite energy drink. It has the nicest flavour. Doesn't have a horrible crash like the others. Now, let's get into it. Some petty grievances. So what happened was, this is an example of an industry person, by the way. When I did an interview with Kassad about what was going on with Bleed all the way back in March, when they'd started to shuffle the line up and he was moving towards getting a line that was doing decently in tier 2, in the interview, at one point, I make a point to Kassad where what I say to him, which is what this idiot's talking about here, I say something like you do understand, part of the backlash against you is specifically against you because you're Kassad and you've said all those things about Huxley and G2 and you've been a top analyst, etc. So people are going to do that thing with oh yeah, well if you're so smart, how would you do given the chance? As they did indeed do and acted like Kassad's Bleed should be better than Huxley's G2 or Kassad is wrong and Huxley is right. Which is what? So this guy, I made the point to Kassad, as a framing device, the reason why I know it's because of you that everyone's hating on Bleed, because this is back before they even had bad results, by the way, except I guess for the RMR months before this. I said, if this had been a team and then the example I gave was Sprout, because I said a team like Sprout, obviously famous for either you take players that drop down, refresh, etc., or Acor or whatever, or you take players that are on the way up, that are going to become top players eventually, Stare, etc., and in that sort of an org, which to me is actually at a similar sort of level, not money-wise, but in terms of competing-wise as Bleed. So I said something if that was Sprout that had signed those players, they wouldn't get anywhere near the same backlash. Some people just say they're good pickups or interesting pickups or whatever. Now what happens is, you get this thing where lower-level people who aren't very famous in esports just love to get outraged and make themselves the centre of the attention. So because I dared to use Sprout as an example of a team that isn't at the top, but that acquires different talents and how people think generally fairly positively and have goodwill towards Sprout, because I had the audacity to say that, and then Kassad replied to me, this guy who's a manager of fucking Sprout, he's a guy here where he's whatever this shit is, but he was actually, I believe it was Sprout he was in. He just replies to me and goes, would be nice, comma, right, by the way, already he's failed English there. By the way, guy who I'm going to guess is from Germany because your name is Daniel Paulus and you work with Sprout and ESBD Verband. Since you're from Germany, by the way, our languages were even connected in the past. Maybe learn how English works, because when you put would be nice, comma, well, how'd the comma be there? How'd the comma be there? So would be nice, comma, when you throw our name in the next time, that you know what you are talking about. So it would be nice that you know what you're talking about was the sentence. And the second part was optional. Doesn't even make sense. He goes, would be nice when you throw our name in the next time that you know what you are talking about. Thank you. Right. So I don't know what I'm talking about by implying Sprout's a team that picks up other players, but wouldn't get the same criticism as Bleed. How the fuck could he, being in Sprout, possibly know that? It's a completely hypothetical scenario I'm imagining. He has never been himself like Kassad, and his org has never had the same scrutiny that Bleed did, so we can't even A-B test this. He's just basically getting mad and just going, you just don't know what you're talking about because I am the Sprout guy and you are not, so how about shut up? My God. Here's a crazier idea, dickhead. How about actually give a point? Why not say something actually that's incorrect? I think from the perception of how people think of our team, we do get a lot of, that might be an interesting, I might actually learn something. There might be something valuable, some exchange of information or ideas could happen in our communication, as opposed to you butchering my beautiful language, which developed out of yours, but mine's a lot better, and then you just saying some stupid shit like that. Because then I don't waste 1 second of my time in real life on these people. I do it on a show like this to roast them. But Kassad, obviously, sadly, actually entertains these cretins and just comes in and goes, what? Then this moron just links. And Kassad goes, what is the problem here? What got you salty? And then this guy goes, I'm not salty at all. Pause. You are completely salty, you fucking arsehole. All we've done is do an interview, not even about you, and just use you as a momentary, quite charitable and reasonable framing device. And then you've gone, would be nice. Would be nice if you knew what you were bloody talking about. Thank you. And so, how passive-aggressive and salty are you fucking dunce? You clearly are salty as fuck. In fact, you're even doing this mad feminine coded thing where you're not telling us what you're mad about. You're just going, must be nice. And then we're going, what are you mad about? Well, what about this here? Well, yeah, but what specifically are you mad about? No, so I have to tell you everything now. You can't just know for yourself. Oh, I guess I'm the crazy one. I'm you're fucking wilding now, bro. Take a fucking chill pill. Have some chamomile tea. Have a nap, you dozy little you-know-what. Are you fucking kidding me? So then he goes, he has a right point. you are fucking joshing right now. So when you came in and told me that I don't know what I'm talking about, and then Kassad goes like, what's the problem though? You go, he has a right point. So I was right with what I said. What even is this thread then, aside from you just massaging your own ego, fucking nobody dunce arsehole who I think was from Sprout? He has a right point that with your exposure, people hate more. Also, basically, the only way I even mentioned or referenced your team, you agree with my point that I was right. Then I think we can just leave it there. Shut the fuck up, dunce. That's not even interesting. And are you ready, though? He then says I'm right, but then watch, full stop. He's now going to disagree with exactly what he just said. He goes, but if we would pick your kind of players instead of talents and would be on our current level, we would get bashed too. I'm going to do what nobody does to me on the internet. I'm going to charitably attempt to understand what he said before destroying it as stupid. So I think what he's trying to say is he agrees with the current setup that Kassad gets more hate because his players he picks up are more famous, but that if Sprout picked up the same players instead of talents like they tend to pick up at the moment. By the way, I think they already do pick up those players. Like Refresh was at a similar level in Heroic as Nexa was in G2. How are those totally alien reference points in that regard, by the way? Wonderful went to Sprout after he'd been in Spirit in like major playoffs and shit, boys. Like, this is such a weird angle because he's like sort of pretending like their end point and they only ever get like the good player on the way up and they never get them on the way down. You've already had players like that. And did you ever, when you picked up Refresh, get the backlash like Kassad did for picking up anyone? Of course you didn't. So already I think it's absurd because one, even though I think what has happened and you didn't get that backlash, so you're then agreeing like, I guess currently you are right, except that actually would encompass what you're saying. But even worse, you're then acting, but we've never actually had the chance to have that happen. That's not even true. That's just not even true. It's not even true, mate. So again, what are we even wasting our time crying about here? And then he goes, our model is completely different. He's never going to explain the model. Don't even worry about that. I think one of the right examples here is TSM. Right. What's so insane about this is it goes kind of the same way as your project. This is to Kassad, remember? But nobody bashes them like Bleed because you are not part of it, right? That's sort of an okay point. He's almost getting the point that actually orgs like Sprout and TSM don't get the same level of scrutiny and hate because there's not an extra emotional reason of a specific person attached like Kassad to hate on, right? TSM's, I guess you could maybe hate on Regin because of the coach bug thing, but people don't as much now. A lot of people probably don't even know he's that involved in it. They just think of Valde and they think of... But the reason why I think it's mad is because, one, TSM had Cypher in it, and I can tell you, when Cypher was on TSM, I actually showed you on camera once that he didn't even play bad. Everyone said he was shit and should just be fired and never be in the tier 1 scene. So already they did get criticised in TSM. Also, I think actually on Reddit, TSM is a go-to example of a joke where people think all their rosters are bad. I think their current roster, the Danish one's not bad. They're working with something there, but I think he's actually just agreeing with my point again, but just going, but I'm not going to 100% agree. And then that's now make a big deal out of the 1%. Oh, gives a fucking point. So Kassad comes in and he goes, you missed the point completely, mate. You should probably chill before you make it worse. And then this guy goes, then explain it to me. I'm always happy to learn something. Mate, you're fucking... Oh, you're one of these people where you'd actually be better not using punctuation than just using it willy-nilly. Like, you think that you make... To you, punctuation is like a fucking Powerpuff Girl creation. You go like, some words, some nouns, some metaphors, some syntax connecting areas. And at the end, sprinkle in a healthy dose of all of that. Oh, well, I mean, that's fucked up. I've got semicolons everywhere, commas. You know what? Fuck it. It's going out like that. That's English. You just put it everywhere. It gives it flavour, right? Like, nah, it's nonsense, mate. So then he goes, I'm always happy to learn something. Kassad says, get ready for how mentally ill the ending of this is. He goes, if the same lineup is playing for Sprout, there wouldn't be as many Reddit, HLTV threads, etc. Right? Pause. Does anyone actually dispute that? Like, are we really going to pretend the hate isn't because of Kassad? And that people really just wanted to do hundreds of threads going mental on like how Jacob's not playing very well. I don't think people really care that much. Like, come on, stop begging belief and just admit the truth. So he goes, there wouldn't be as many HLTV threads, etc. That doesn't make Sprout bad. By the way, I think this idiot actually in some way thought this was a diss against Sprout. I think I genuinely so dunce-like. He's going, you're just saying we're irrelevant or something. We're not at all the point anyone was ever making at this point in time. As I said, we actually respectfully referred to them. We never even said anything negative about them or their org. If the same, he goes, that doesn't make Sprout bad. It's just that my presence attracts a lot of exposure to the project due to the past. Well, that's obviously just correct, isn't it? Did it have like another set? No, it didn't. Okay. He goes, that is true. Right, pause. So my point was right. I do apparently know what I'm talking about because you've repeatedly agreed with the framing of how I made my point to Kassad, who's the other person on the show. It's also true what we've said, comma, this guy's a nightmare when punctuation gets involved, comma, but unnecessary to make this example with the name of other org, instead of saying bleed without Kassad or a other. This guy can't even write in English. I get what he's trying to say, though. I'm communicating. He's getting the ideas across. It's just a nightmare the way he writes, but okay. Or a other T3/T2, tier 2 team without name dropping. So for real, the whole thing was just he got salty. We said the name Sprout. We could have even said the exact same thing, which he would agree they are, just any tier 2 or tier 3 team. So basically, this guy is now the one who polices what we're allowed to say. So I can't use what would be a great reference, like actually give you an example. So you know how when I'm talking about football transfers, I could, if I was to talk about a team that spent massive amounts of money and hadn't had much success, I could say like Everton or maybe even Chelsea, right? But according to his, I would say, why mention Chelsea? Why not just say Manchester United? In fact, why even say that? Why say any team? Why not just be respectful and just say a team in the top 8, but not a contest? How about you just fucking sling your hook, arsehole? How about I'll give you whatever example I want, which even you, multiple times now on record, agree are both correct points. You agree with the point being made, and you think what we said is true. I think maybe just get your knickers out of a bunch and fuck off, you arsehole. Or just do your own tweet on your own account, shithead. Why reply to me and be all salty, a little pissy arsehole like this? And Kassad would give you way too much time of day here. I'd have just ignored you like I did, or just dry roasted you fucking arsehole like I did right now, dickhead. Just say other how about you just shut up? If we're just prescribing what to do. Here's a good one. This isn't even actually about someone fucking with me, but you're going to love this. So watch. It was announced, obviously, in August that NiKo was going to join Falcons, but for reals this time, and that he's going to play the Shanghai Major with G2, then join Falcons in January. This guy, Deadshot, goes, you fucking snake, joining a team for money. Pause, that's already incredible. The idea other players aren't joining teams for money, like as even a capacity. And are you out of your mind, bro? What you're doing there is you mean you're joining the team which is the most famous, the biggest reason to join is money. But you're so dumb, you just said, you're doing a job for money. And what's your response to NiKo? Checks notes, doing his job for money. Let's get into the psychology of this guy. Let's fucking buckle in. You fucking snake, joining a team for money. I hope you never win a major, you snake. Right, one, that's not even that good a diss, because he already never won a major in the game. He was like a top 3 player at CSGO. So spoiler, that's already the case in CSGO. Two, the idea of like, oh, you're joining for money. I hope you never win. Right, do you want to know the people and teams most likely to win majors? This is going to blow your mind. The ones that get paid the most money and have the most money available and the most resources. So actually, by definition, joining a team where they have a lot of money is one of the best, most surefire ways for NiKo to win a major. So your point is utterly stupid, but it's better than that. And this is why I took this into this particular petty grievances. Because get ready, it wasn't me who found this. Someone else found this. Someone else just went back on his account, and I'll tell you, these are real. So that was in August the 26th. He wrote this message about NiKo. By the way, he's also so parasocially mentally ill. He acts like NiKo, who I don't think is even tagged in that tweet, is actually the one making the tweet and is reading his comment, which, if you notice, he's written as if it was like a personal Snapchat to NiKo. So already we know this guy's a little bit brain dead. He's also a G2 fan. But get ready, this is real. August 26th, he says that. Less than 1 month later, he went to ESL Pro League, took these pictures with NiKo and 2 other players, one of them Monacy and one's Twists. By the way, my dude, what are you going to do if Monacy joins Falcons, you dickhead? Is he going to be a piece of shit too? You're so shameless, a piece of shit. You online tried to say you hope NiKo never wins a major and that he is a snake. Then you went in real life and said, hey NiKo, can I take a picture of you? NiKo, love you, NiKo. I think you're the snake, mate. Because you know what would be snake-like behaviour? Saying one thing, but then behaving in a different way. Or being two-faced. Ooh, what a piece of shit, eh? But don't worry, that's just the preamble. A dickhead like this, think they ever would have said any stupid shit to me? Ooh, you know they would. So let's see what they've been saying to me. So this is recent, November 7th. So Rekkles, technically the Swedish AD carry in League of Legends, technically won the recent League of Legends World Championship. He didn't, except technically, because what happened was he was listed as the sub player for support, even though he never played an official game for the T1 main team. He was actually in their challenger team. And I think they just listed him because in reality, you're never going to sub anyone in that scenario. By the way, their sub's one of the best players in the world, was one of the best at this tournament even. But also, he doesn't speak Korean fluently and he doesn't play with their main team. So I think they just did it because it was in Europe anyway. So it was a way to bring him along. You just get some free PR. You have all the fans who were European fans anyway and the fans of T1. And so I made this comment here where I made the obvious joke. I put, since he technically did win because he was listed as a sub and the sub technically wins. Now, look, Promiscu was listed as the G2 sub when they won MSI. But people only meme that he won MSI. No one really believes it. So I put winning worlds while not doing a damn thing in the server and just getting straight carried. Homie really was training for this his entire career. Because even though that's obviously hyperbole and facetious, I do think out of star players, most of the times he won championships, obviously mainly EULCS. Technically it was, when it changed to LEC, he never won. But when it was EULCS, most of the splits he won, except maybe I think one, the best players were actually the solo laners, and he actually was more like a janitor cleanup ADC who just played out the team fights. Like, he actually wasn't like a hard carry. So, to me, I'm making a joke that refers to what my original analysis of his career most of the time was anyway. So let's see what this arsehole says. He goes, we agree. Let's go. He did nothing. He is not a world champion. People say he played chess and ping pong with players. How the fuck is that something? The man is not a world champ. Yeah, it's obviously sarcasm, isn't it, mate? So, if we're starting there, it's probably not going to be good. It's probably not going to be good. Here's a good one. August 13th. Now, what happened was, this was when Ultimate said some sort of comment like he didn't like people, I don't know, criticising him or something, or people not expecting him to be a tier 1 talent. And he made some sort of comment that was like firing back. Because as you've seen, he's not very good with PR. I mean, he basically completely might have hinted his whole CS career with that recent headline where he just said something like, maybe I'm just not practicing that much, which is insane when you're like shit in the bed at all these tournaments. Because I'm not a noob like you guys, I always had the eye test, even when his stats were bonkers, to keep telling you, this is fool's gold. Like, what he's doing in the server isn't actually at the level that it looks like. People haven't figured him out yet. His CT style is way too aggressive. He's going to get figured out and it's going to tank his numbers. And also, these are group stage games. So I made this point here. I said, you can tell Ultimate is a noob. Obviously, I'm talking about in terms of experience at tier 1, because he doesn't seem to understand teams like Team Liquid cost millions to run. So as a result, by the way, you don't just gamble on randoms. Have him pick 2 other teammates from his former team, AGO, and if they aren't sick at tier 1, he is fired and retires. Deal? My reason why I say deal is because obviously he'd never accept that deal because those 2 players. Joke is he hasn't made it yet, but the odds that like 2 or 3 players, it would be very, very low. That's why I put exactly, it's just talk. Because my point is, where's the skin in the game? When some player goes, hey, you're talking shit on me, but look at these results. It's like, okay, pause. What are we gambling with here? So you're saying I'm gambling my reputation by saying you're not that good or you're overrated. Well, in that case, for you to actually hold me accountable, you have to put something at stake. So let's agree. If you're saying, well, hey, people are saying I wouldn't be good because I'm a nobody at tier 1. Well, in that case, if you're then not good, you shouldn't be allowed to play at tier 1, should be fired from your job. You agree? No, you don't, do you? So it's obviously a bad faith argument to make in the first place. So this guy goes, the fuck you on about, mate, lol. He is doing insane right now. Hasn't even attempted to understand anything I just explained to you in the last 5 minutes. He just saw me write the name, Ultimate. He just saw the words written, Ultimate is a noob, and went, what are you talking about? He's really good. Even though my context I explained doesn't mean he's a noob in terms of he's bad at the game. I mean, the context is incredibly clear. It's actually very, very easy to understand, especially at the time when the events had unplayed and I was tweeting in a topical manner. So you already know this guy's an absolute dunce. Here's another good one. This person says what I think is one of the funniest tweets ever sent to or about me. It's where this person, who's a nutter, just goes, about me, he goes, that's him, casually endorsing sexism. Get ready for the funniest line I might have ever read on the internet about me. She goes, you can't pick and choose which groups of women to support. It's all or none. So this utter lunatic thinks that in order for you to support women, you must support every single woman that exists in the world. And if you don't support even one, you support no women, and you never supported women. Like, if you can't see, that is just the manifestation outwardly of a crazy internal pathology that probably means this person actually hates men, by the way. They are actually a misandrist. Like, they just can't even... Their logic is men are shit unless they support every woman that exists, including, let's guess, just this person. Now, you know why that's absurd? I'll just very quickly address this. Because this person, by definition, doesn't support every single woman that exists in every group of women that exists in the world. Like, for example, I'm going to go ahead and guess this person doesn't support white women who are married who vote for Donald Trump, for example. So by their own logic, they don't support women at all, and they are casually endorsing sexism. But they would obviously never think that because they have no self-awareness to include themselves within their moral judgments. So I then, because it's hilarious as fuck, just said, laugh of the day. This is years later. This arsehole goes, glad you had a laugh for once. You found relevance again, you ginger twat. Congratulations, nobody loves you. Not even, by the way, just like, hey, we don't like you. Nobody loves you. Now, you might just think, what would that have to do with my post, though? Oh, nothing. It's just another really unwell person going, hey, as a person on the internet, I've seen that in this moment I don't like. I'll just send a horrible message and hope it gets through to them. And I don't know, maybe they just off themselves in Minecraft or something. Hilarious what we're doing on the internet, isn't it? Like, what? What's the relevance, bro? This guy's just a shitheel. So let's keep going. Here's another good one. So this is when that Vexite guy tried talking shit to me, implying I'm a virgin. So I just fucked him up, obviously. Easy does it. By the way, he's got a massive molly. Shout out Austin Powers one time. So then this guy comes in and goes, to remind everyone, this man is 40 and talking about a 18-year-old's appearance. Notice how, even when they are 18, the numbers never, ever have any absolute value. So if I, by the way, get to 50, suddenly they'll say the same thing about like a 30-year-old, by the way. They'll go, he's bullying a 30-year-old, barely above legal age child. When you're 18, you can vote, go to war, you can take out $1 bazillion of debt, you can do everything. You can buy a gun in certain countries. But no, to you, an 18-year-old is just a baby. Like, he just learned to walk, then he tripped over one time while trying to run, and then suddenly he's 18. It's so fucking boring, mate. Meanwhile, if a guy was 17 and then in the wrong state messaged a 16-year-old, you'd make out like the 17-year-old was the 45-year-old pervert pedo, and then the 16-year-old was like a 4-year-old kid, because that's how deranged people have to be. Somehow reality's never enough to make the diss. You have to just make some absurd scenario, some straw man, and then go, hey, I'm smart because I created a completely fictional nonsense scenario that doesn't make any sense. Oh, and I win when I do that. So he goes talking about an 18-year-old's appearance, Thorin. Right? Why does it never work the other way around? Why is it not weird for an 18-year-old pro player to be talking about my sex life? Isn't that a bit weird? Why would that not be cringe? Oh, hey, what are you, like twice as old as me? I bet you don't get women to slide up and down on your dick much. That's weird, mate. That's your go-to, because I've criticised you in CS. Your go-to is to just fantasise about what I do or don't do in the bedroom with other people. Almost like that's weird. Also, I'm so bored of this. The big self-report is they act like they're all 11 years old, and that's why it's fine for them to be shitheads, but I'm the really weird one for being 40. Most of the people making these comments are like 23 years old, have done like school, have like a full-time job, their own apartment, and then they come online and type like they're 12. By the way, I think that's equally weird. When did that become cool to act like you're 12 when you're actually 18 or 21 or 23? Again, notice how there's never a cutoff. It's just I'm always wrong and they're always right, and then you just reverse engineer the argument to make it seem so. And if, by the way, if the argument can't be reverse engineered, you just reverse engineer reality to look like that. Here's a good one. I put, it's legitimately embarrassing seeing the CSGO community act like complete marks, marks every single night for weeks on end. Marks every single night for weeks on end is Christmas Eve. Grope you, Marks. I'm not even sure what that what was I referring to with that? And then he just goes, Marks, who are you calling a mark? Tell you what, it's fucking razor sharp, this mind. Is this a Thorin banger, is it? Apparently it is just 'cause I made fun of Fortnite. Okay. Here's another good one. So I put, let me know what security in esports can handle 100,000 Brazilians if shit kicks off. Because remember, they were claiming there was going to be 100,000 Brazilians coming through that, like, Rio Major, through the whole grounds. What they really meant was, if every day you count each person coming through a turnstile as a totally brand new person, then combined for all these days of people coming in and out, we had 100,000, even though that's an absurd number. You probably had like 20,000, let's be real. But you know what these arseholes are like when they pump the numbers up. My point is, if you have like 5 or 10 security guards and 100,000 people were there and went mental, you're going to be fucking in deep shit, aren't you? They're just going to kill everyone. So I put totally irresponsible, and ESL is no Olympics. I hope for everyone's sake that this doesn't end in tears. Not only what a reasonable post, what an incredibly responsible post for someone who's an elder in the community to say. I'm actually trying to say, hey, before something tragic happens, which is just the writings on the wall, it's going to happen, this is a recipe for disaster. Let's think about this and consider like the scale esports is already at, so that it doesn't have to be that someone gets beaten or killed before we then fix the problem. By the way, how incredibly prescient was this post when you consider that this was at the Rio Major, and only a year and a bit later, in 2024, at the PGL Copenhagen Major, people were literally rushing the stage, and when players were emergency removed from the stage, they were being told, like, people are just rushing the stage, and some of them were thinking people were coming to kill them. So as usual, I know what I'm talking. This dickhead goes, Thorin, shut up for once. Nobody cares about your opinions. You only tweet hot takes when you realise you are losing your relevancy. Put a sock in it. Right, this is a hot take. This is a hot take I did to try and reclaim relevancy. How's it a hot take, by the way? Hey, hot take. I think you should have enough security to stop the players being murdered. Huh, another bloody hot take to farm relevance and then get... No, surely the hot take would be like, fuck the players. You know, it's like UFC. You sign up to die, you die. Surely that'd be a hot take. What the fuck even is it? This guy, more like fucking brain dead, 1956. And in 1956, his granddad made a really big mistake. He should have just busted on the face. Obviously, he didn't have good spray control, did he? Let's see. Quick, everyone post something insincere about loving Brazil to farm moron impressions. Amazing tweet, Thorin. I actually agree with him. That was an amazing one. Here's a good one. The day Maniac realises he's a poet and not an analyst, he will be undeniable for you. I will say, I'll give you that one. Not Deadshot, but everyone watching the stream now, you know what? That has aged badly. That tweet has aged very badly. You know why? Because, you know, poets, especially historically, poets, especially even from the Francophile world, they do have a pretty bad track record of being kind of creepy, don't they? And doing fucked up things and doing potentially immoral things. And in fact, even arguing philosophically there is no morality and they can do whatever they want. So I will say that's aged very poorly. I obviously meant in his skills as like an entertainer and an on-camera figure and how he speaks and puts together ideas. But I'll give you that. That's aged poorly. But what's hilarious is, even though it's a great point, because I always told you, he wasn't supposed to be the guy who did hard analysis. He's the guy where he was better waxing lyrical. This guy goes, the only time I ever agree with Thorin. By the way, that's also not even particularly very good English, but okay, all good. But then again, it was following this one up. I put, ESL did something bad. Well, who really cares anyway? That is, by the way, that is actually what people think of because they think ESL's the best. But up for it to the heavens, of course. Fans don't actually care if people do stuff wrong. Just the people they don't like. I think that's just actually accurate, isn't it? By the way, could you imagine if Richard Lewis made his own team with no Asian players and then entered them into an Asian RMR and tried to qualify? Every hater of Richard Lewis would go mental and melt down. But because they like OnlyPixel, it's fine for OnlyPixel to do it because they like OnlyPixel. That's the only reason why. There's nothing about the rule they think is fair. There's nothing about exploiting rules they think is fair. They all cried themselves to sleep about Fnatic doing that fucking all-off boost. But by their logic, hey, it's in the game, you can do it. So what's the problem until I'm told I can't do it? So go fuck yourself. So this dickhead goes, shut up. This is one of the worst takes I've ever seen you make. Mate, they're all the worst take. They're all the worst take from you. Oh, there's only a few more, so we'll finish after this one. Sometimes you've got to remind them who you are, that it was like a picture of me. He goes, a ginger who thinks he made esports. I definitely don't think I made esports, do I? I said I am esports. I embody esports. I wasn't even here when it was made, so how could I say I made esports? This guy nailed it. What part of I am esports says he made esports? Another good one. Right, this is a good one, because another nutter during that like rant about women came in and they said another hilariously funny comments. I'll read it. They go, and yet he could go out into society and get a job with ease, not get discriminated on a daily basis. By the way, I actually couldn't do that. By definition, explicitly, the law in my home country and your home country would by definition discriminate against me on both the grounds of my race and my gender, quite literally, my sex. They would literally give the job to a woman who was less qualified than me. That is literally codified within the laws of our countries. So you're already immediately factually wrong, but you're a moron. So keep pretending it's 1935. She goes, majority of men share his same views, aka you. That's not even vaguely true. By the way, I think my Twitter posting in history can prove actually the majority of people do not agree with me and my views. I think that's one thing we can say, including in the thread this idiot is in. Then they go, he could literally log off and no longer be oppressed. I've just explained why that's not true in any capacity. What a privilege. Get ready for the funniest line. Second funniest line you've heard today. Wish I could log out of my vagina. So I just put quote tweet, wish I could log out of my vagina. This guy goes, wish you could take your ginger ass back to the cave. Nobody cares about you, Thorin. You're only doing this for attention, he says for the 1 billionth time, never providing 1 second of value in his comments to me. Every comment is just fucking nonsense. It may as well just be scribbled shit on a piece of cardboard and he just sends it to my address. Like, what the fuck's it, like shit on a, what the fuck is that? I wouldn't even read it. Like, just nothing going on. Here's a good one. Because I said I'm esports, he goes, are you esports? I just need to ask. By the way, he was almost certainly desperately trying to get banned here, but didn't ban him, did I? Here's a good one. A dystopia is when someone else's utopia is imposed upon you. It's actually just quite a insightful comment about history. He goes, a utopia is when Thorin does not tweet cringe anymore. I agree with this guy. That comment is way shitter than my comment. Even if you don't like mine is levels above this one. I mean, this is barely English. It's like someone's bashing a soundboard. This is like when they claim that fucking Coco the monkey could like speak English or whatever through sign language, and they would just go like, they were like, oh, Coco want banana and to go out the crate. It's like, I think you might just be guessing what that. I don't believe that's actually what that monkey's saying. Like, let's get an independent person who speaks sign language, see if they can understand what the monkey's saying. Who knows what the fuck this monkey's saying? So then the last one, this person goes, who's up? Then this person just tags me because people are morons and want to be blocked. He goes, you up? And he goes, love you, profile picture. All right then. Is that Axel or some sort of, I guess it's some COD player, I'm going to guess. I don't know who the fuck it would be. Oh, this is actually a pro player. Fucking hell, all right. This is actually a pro COD player for Royal Ravens. I mean, it's nothing to do with me, so. Oh, that's right. Now I remember. I've just realised from the date. This is the day when I was wrecking all of the COD community. If you don't know, you can go on my YouTube and check out Thorin versus COD. And I just wreck all of the famous COD players and fucking they all try to come at me and I just clap them all. I'll do one more because I want to do one more funny one before we end. I think we'll end on this one. Remember how I'm wrong with every single thing I say, even though the people telling me I'm wrong and fact-checking me are sat on a computer with no time component. They could just like even Google or look up what I'm saying and prove that I'm wrong. But that's not what they do. They act like we're not on computers and we're just in a bar and you can only go whatever's in your brain. So get ready. I go simple. This in 2018 when it was rumoured he was going to go to play for MIBI with SK Gaming at the time and play in a South American Brazilian team. He would then have played obviously in Team Liquid in North America, Flipside and Navi in Europe, and then it would have been SK later MIBR in South America. So that would be 3 continents. So I put, Simple is going to become the first and only player to finish top 4 a major with teams from 3 different continents. You will never, no matter how long you wait, see a player like this again. So in comes the genius and goes, South America and North America are the same continent though? Please tell me there's a location. He's even from the Netherlands. Holy fuck. He's from the Netherlands, but to be fair, I actually thought that was Ricky. Is anyone else? Can I get someone to agree with me? That did for a second look like it could be Ricky from Renegade/CLG, right? But it wasn't. It's just some random nobody. So an idiot from the Netherlands, which doesn't even make sense, by the way. Like, bro, let me just look something up. Right. The reason I've just looked this up now, guys, is very famously, Everyone in fucking Netherlands knows they had a colony in Suriname. It's where they got players like those amazing ones in the 80s, like Frank Rijkaard and Ruud Gullit, etc. They famously have a South American colony called Suriname, but you're unaware South America is a continent. You just thought America was a giant continent. Holy fuck. It just goes, South America are the same continent. Why don't you just Google it, bro? Just Google, South America not? I mean, I would say the clue, this is going to blow your mind. The clue, it's in the name, innit? That's why they called one South America, one North America. If it was just America, why differentiate it? You know what I mean? Just saying. Just put that out there. Apparently he gets it, though, because he says yes. Apparently and you know that word. Right, so first of all, we've got a returning guest, haven't we? Because this guy's been, and I think at least 2, might even have been 3, past Petty Grievances episode. It is our old pal, Axel _YS8, a.k.a., even though he has indeed, due to my mockery / a loser would say bullying, he has indeed taken out of his bio that he's 19 from Uzbekistan. Like, he just said, oh no, he's put it back in. He used to, I think, have it up here, but now he's changed it to where it's here, but he put it back in, 19 ex Uzbekistan. So famously, this is the guy who, first of all, apparently has created 8 million fucking projects. But then secondly, he hasn't really, he just changed the name of that one. But also, even though all they do, as far as I can tell, is not actually do any journalism. They just take other people's comments in Russian, translate them, and put them onto social media websites so that Westerners like me can read them because we can't read Russian, which is a service to some degree, but it's not the same as creating content, is it? You're just sort of helping out. Now, on past episodes, you might see I roasted the fuck out of this little twat because his opening gambit, after I'd followed his different websites and retweeted them and essentially promoted his attempt at being in esports, was to just be rude and do stupid things like imply that I'm like Overdrive. So I'm just some fucking moron, just putting out random rumours or something, just talking out my arse and being rude. It's just nonsense. So what I did was, I roasted the fuck out of this loser because I saw he's one of those people who brags out his age and where he's from, and about the fact that because he's 19 from Uzbekistan, well, one, who gives a fuck about Uzbekistan? Nobody does. I don't care about this thing like, all cultures are equally good and sick. They aren't, otherwise you wouldn't have to keep saying that 1984-esque propaganda and forcing people to say it like some fucked slogan. You wouldn't need to convince me if that was true. And then secondly, when you're 19, you came out of a dick 5 seconds ago relative to me. So I don't really give a shit. Imagine that. Imagine some guy went, oh, and then 5 minutes later, the fucking, what he just did, that sound just came along and goes, actually, Thorin, you're wrong about how Forrest played in 2009 in Fnatic. Actually, I think that at the time, he was actually better than NiKo. And it's like, well, you weren't even there and you don't know what you're talking about. So I never tolerate fools like this kindly. So don't worry. This guy, because I then roasted the fuck out of him, someone linked him to that video and he got so fucking mad. Look, he watched the video here and took the quote that he'd said about me, which is why I mocked him. He goes, Overdrive is just a Russian Thorin at this point. And then, first of all, he's so mentally ill that while he's screeching on Twitter about me doing this and raging, going on about me, he then has the audacity, because they're all so mentally ill, that even when they've just spazzed out, they go, I live rent free in your head. It's like, no, it's the other way around, bro. It's the other way around. You only get to appear in my universe when I on stream just use you as any random cretin grist for my mill to make fun of and entertain my fans. And they subscribe and donate and watch, and I make money off that and I get out my system. You actually do just sit around going mental about me. He goes, 50-year-old virgin's feelings. So what he's done there is, he's gotten really mad that I was like, you're just a kid that came out with a dick 5 seconds. So he goes, oh yeah, well you're 50 and a virgin. By the way, bear in mind I am 41. Why'd you have to go to 50? It's because they always think, fuck, everyone else might not be as mental as me, so I better over-egg the pudding. So they always go, a 100-year-old man who's, in fact, you're not even a virgin, you've actually had negative sex. You had sex with 2 people and it was so bad it got taken away, and actually you lost that experience, and now it's like you're even less experienced than a virgin. You're 100 years old and a negative virgin, and you got hurt after my single comment. Bro, you're wilding, and started judging my profile picture. Guys, it was it's because he had that shitty little anime profile pic. Well, he's got another anime profile pic. Spoiler, they don't pick anime profile pics because they look dope in real life. Like, you think if he was mewing and he had like a big Giga Chad chin, he'd be showing an anime weeaboo profile. Of course he wouldn't. But it's where he's like, oh, I can't believe he's judging my profile picture, my nationality, and my profile in a 1 hour video. You are a big personality in CS, but you act like a child. Right, let's just address this part now. First of all, you are 19, so you're not a child by any definition. You might maturity-wise be. So why do you get to act like a child since you're not a child? Can I just take a little moratorium on that in all these fans out there? Not 99% of the fans telling me, oh, you're 30, you're 40, you're 50, you're an old guy. Well, I can't believe you're a mature guy that you behaving like this. Nearly all of those people, fuck being over even 18, most of them are over 20. Why is it suddenly cool for you to do that as a 20-year-old? I must have missed this. Especially because, remember, as you all go to great pains to point out to me, I don't work professionally for a big company in esports. So I'm not actually required by any professional standards to do what you imagine I should. You keep trying to sort of tell me that I have to behave the way, like, the guy who works the fries counter at McDonald's would in terms of the professional rules and protocols, but then you're allowed to be a shitheel to me, even though, again, I don't work at a job like the fries counter at McDonald's, and you're also just a guy in the world, so, you don't get judged at all. So then he has that thing, goes, you're a big personality in CS. Well, then why did you just imply that I'm just a Russian overdrive? Sounds like I'm more than that, doesn't it, in many ways? Notice he's never addressed that part. He could just be an adult if he wanted to show me how maturity works, and just go, I was just joking about that, but I will point out I do respect what you've done. Just by the way, because he came up with Dick 5 minutes ago, so he doesn't know what I've done in the industry. He's just some fucking bozo going, I am 19 from the Like, oh, those are two massive accomplishments in life. Better put that on my profile. Mate, those are the two details you want to hide, you fucking loser. And also the idea after all this just 50-year-old virgin. After I only made a single comment. He's judging my profile picture and my nationality and overall my profile in a 1 hour video. Let's be real, the 1 hour wasn't about you, but you have tried to infer that because you're a fucking cretin. By the way, when you work even tangentially in the field of journalism and you already did like a disingenuous comparison in a 1 hour video, was it 1 hour about you? Does somehow what I've done get more fucked up if the video is 10 hours long but 9 hours 50 aren't about you, but you can go in a bloody 10 hour video, you're obsessed with me. You're trying to make it sound like it's a 1 hour video about you loser. And then you go, after all that, you go, I'm calm down. Oh, wait, shit, I haven't really gotten a good dig in there. Tell you what, rent-free. I live rent-free in his head. Yeah, that's why you're posting screenshots and going mental on Twitter. Definitely rent-free. Definitely rent-free. Oh, and by the way, as this person here, get ready. Look how pathetic this guy. Remember, I'm just a Russian overdrive. I'm just a shithead saying any old shite, a big personality. So let's go down. So this guy goes, if you don't like him, why are you still interacting with him? Because, oh, don't worry, like a Clout goblin, this guy continually is just he's behind me, like he's basically trying to fucking elbow out of the way the other little Clout pigs like Smooya and I guess GL in this analogy and go, let me be the first on the human centipede on Thorin's ass. L-tick. L-tick. Are you enjoying that back there, Smooya? Oh, it was a fucking L-tick. When I first got the... You'll get the chord in a second, but when I first tasted it, what is that? Like, was he eating Reese's Pieces earlier or something? Like, that's all these guys do. Like, they can't ignore me. So he goes, why are you interacting with him? Get ready for this. The worst thing about Clout goblins is it's a bit like, in America, where they don't shame any kind of sexual degeneracy. So they now, not only are they not ashamed, they're proud of the fact that they'll tell you they do all degenerate shit. So similarly, nowadays Clout goblins are proud of it. They think it's like a positive, a feature, not a bug. He goes, as I said, he is a big personality in CS. And that's why, get ready, I respect his opinions. Except, obviously, you don't respect my opinions because I'm just a Russian overdrive, so why would you respect my opinions? And then he goes, except the times he clearly trolls, like it happened with GL for months. Right, so he doesn't respect that I've trolled GL, right? Anyone who knows the order, this guy doesn't, because he came up with a dick 5 seconds ago. So all he knows is, take it, you fucking dirty pig. And then he started talking to me about 5 seconds after that. So that's his entire life experience. You know those stories where they tell you like a fly lives for 1 day. That's like what his perspective on esports like. It's just like a fly. It's like, well, oh my God, Well, what happened to the sun? Oh my God, the world's over. Oh shit, I only live a day. Oh, it's my life that's over, not the sun. All right, okay, my bad. So this guy is so dumb. He thinks me in jail, I've been like, he imagines I've been like hateful trolling jail. By the way, jail's even into it, you fucking dunce. He's even from your part of the world, you bozo. And not only is he into it, and clearly was for months now, he even the other day implied he wants to do like a reflections interview and is up for it. So I don't know, maybe you came out of a dick 5 seconds ago on a mountain next to unlimited amounts of goats, I imagine, in fucking shitter Uzbekistan, and you don't know Checks Notes Esports, the people in it, or how to read the room. But don't worry, rent-free. I love it. I actually fucking love it. I love how mad he went over and just raged. He's judging my profile picture. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? That's an obvious thing to say. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Here's a good one. Right. I love the ones where you read it and you just go, what's that got to do with what I'm posting though? What has that got to do with what I'm posting? So let's check what he said and then we'll see what I said. He goes, I remember that short Twitter beef with you and Simple, and you said that's the last conversation you two will ever have. Now you're glazing. Shut the fuck up, dumbass fucking clout chaser. Right, so an account with 17 followers, but who still wastes his time talking about the games he's played, his faceit level, and the notion he was a pro at Concord, wants to call me a clout chaser. He has 17 followers. Now, here's what I said. I said, see the way every pleb is certain Simple will never be a good player again. That's the kind of resistance they had to Simple being a potential GOAT in 2016. The crowd is always wrong. Now, what possible relation would this comment have to that? So I'm talking about Simple and how people have framed and contextualized who he was over the years, and how early on people actually didn't think he was going to be the best, and then when he was, they all in hindsight changed their mind and said, oh, I always knew he would be. So then I make this quite a relevant point because people said the same thing when he came back now to CS2, but you saw immediately he was having good games. So this moron then points out, I remember the Twitter beef between you and Simple, so let's just track this. So what happened was, I said Fallen was the most overrated player ever. Simple was insulting back to me, and then I said something like, go and tell me some more like inaccurate things about what Richard Lewis had said, because Simple kept getting wrong what Richard Lewis had said about Blade, saying he was a clown, or as Simple said, because Russians just say it this way, clone, which would be much funnier, be like some Paul Verhoeven, some shit about fucking Richard Lewis, wouldn't it? That'd be quite a good movie. I then basically said, he then said something about like, you know, you're a piece of shit, and something like, I'll tell you why when I retire or something. And so then I replied and told Simple, like, you won't, because this is the last conversation we'll ever have. Now, this person is so fucking mentally ill. By his logic, when I said to Simple, this is the last conversation we'll have, as in, at the current state of how we're talking, if that's how you're behaving to me, this is the last conversation we're going to have, mate. By his logic, that was me then promising an actual blood oath, cross my heart and hope to die, that if I now ever in my entire existence in this material realm ever talk to Simple again, I have violated everything I stand for, and I am a subhuman piece of shit, probably worse than Hitler times 1 million. It's not that in that scenario, let's say all those circumstances changed. Like Simple came to me privately and apologized in voice notes saying he was wrong about all of it. He respects me. He always has. He has Blade translate my comments for him, and often he doesn't even know what the comments say. He's not got as good English as people think. He even respects other people in the scene who I won't mention by name. And then also basically just said he'd like to do the interview with me. He actually was the one who mentioned it. And then in the interview, he apologized completely for that whole thing. But no, if all of that, you know, normal human social stuff happens, which changes the framing of our relationship, someone you don't even know in any context, publicly or privately, but I've known publicly and privately for like checks notes a decade. No, I'm supposed to know fuck all about that. And because you saw me once say this will be our last conversation, that means I'm now a piece of shit clout chaser because I then talked to Simple, who apologized and wants to talk to me. I think you might actually be the tired, fake person you're referring to. You seem like a cretin, you know? Weird how that works, isn't it? But anyway, let me know when you get to age 15 and we'll tell you some more secrets about social settings. You're going to love that one. Here's a good one. So what happened here is this person who is a professional football player, a woman, and is the girlfriend of a man who's a professional football player, said, I do the same job as her boyfriend, play for the same club, Juventus it looks like here, but I earn 100 times less money. It's not fair. It's something that affects me because I'm a woman. So she's implied 3 things there. One, that, because it's what's implied, that to be fair, if you play for the same club as a woman that a man does, you should make the same money as him. Now, what's already mental about that is, notice she didn't even acknowledge that every woman playing for Juventus female almost certainly doesn't get paid the exact same amount of money. So by her logic, why don't they all just get paid uniformly? You all pay for the same club. By her logic, she shouldn't even be saying she should. She should be saying every woman should make the same as Douglas Luiz. By the way, what about the men at Juventus who don't make as much as Douglas Luiz? The point is, this person hasn't thought about it at all. What they've done is just go, I don't make as much money as him. So with zero context, including all the important context that you need to make an economic judgment, I'm just going to say that's because I'm a woman and it's unfair. So as a result, by the way, this guy even nailed it. Not saying anything different. 0 people in the crowd, full crowd. So it affects me because I'm a woman. So then I just said, no crowd, there was no crowd, and no shirt sponsor. Notice that is a difference here. The shirt sponsor on the front, by the way, is a big deal. Like, that's always been a big deal in football. So I put, hardly rocket science, love. This makes as much sense as a shit actor whose movies make fuck all, as in no box office, suggesting it's wrong Tom Cruise gets millions for his films because they're both actors. I mean, in this case, you could even go one further. Let's say there was an actor who was only from the African film industry. I don't even know if there is one. And he'd only made a bunch of shit movies that got no box office. And then he goes, I make like $1,000 a year, but Tom Cruise makes millions working in the same industry. And we're both actors. So it's obviously racism, isn't it? It's like, well, no, Tom Cruise is a massive box office draw. You aren't. Well, spoiler, do you know where all the money in football comes from? It comes from them being enormous box office draws and selling loads of merch and making loads of revenue. They don't do that in the female side. So even though what I've just posted is not even anything controversial, it's just a facts-based analysis of reality, this moron goes, that is not a fair comparison. Comparing her to a shit actor is implying she's bad at what she does. Pause. That is one of the stupidest opening gambits I've ever seen. Because we're now going to enter Narnia, guys. Because for me to charitably interpret his comment, I'm going to have to get into his head state and his ideological understanding of the world. And in doing so, you will see I exit anything you recognise as reality. Because what he's already suggested with that opening gambit, by the way, is that I can't, in the context of Douglas Luiz at football, imply that Alicia Lemon is shit at football compared to Douglas Luiz. I can't even do that. I have to pretend, because they don't play each other in the same league, I can't know with my eyes if Alicia Lemon is worse than Douglas Luiz. That's already, we've exited reality just to accept the premise of his argument. By the way, she is inarguably incredibly shit at football compared to Douglas Luiz, the person she is comparing herself to, and then pointing out about, in a performance-based industry, how much money they make each of them. So she's, in theory, vaguely contextually in line. I'm completely contextually in line. He's had to remove all context to have any chance to build an argument. But let's keep going. He goes, it would be like a good actor starring in a small indie film with a $10,000 budget versus a good actor starring in a $1 million blockbuster. Right, what's weird about that is this. This is why these people are boring. His final point after the comma is basically the similar argument to me. Even though his argument, by the way, is also exactly the same as my argument. So his argument's like, what if it's just not as good and... Well... Actually, sorry, my mistake. I'll rephrase that. I've just realised he said a good actor twice. So that's already, he's tried to pretend in his scenario they're both equally good, but one's in a small film and one's in a big film. That's not true though, is it? She isn't as good as he is. So that's already wrong. You already are wrong in your phrasing. And also, your whole thing is literally just, no joke, even though being good in this context is literally finite. If we have 1,000 people, 999 of them can't be good, otherwise good doesn't doesn't mean anything. And now the ones that are the best aren't better than the ones that are below. Of 1,000, some of them are clearly much better than the others, and you would have to have a hierarchy. And if you took that 1,000, get ready for me to blow your mind. You took that 1,000, well, within that 1,000, let's say the top 3 on 400 might be good, right? But if you then took only that 400, by definition, again, the top, I don't know, 100 or 200 would be good, and now the bottom 200 wouldn't be good in context of just 400. And are you ready to really get your mind blown? You know the 100 that were the absolute best out of the 1,000. If you made the 100th the entire scale, now the 100th is absolutely the shittest player possible, and the number 1 is the best, and he's way, way better, even though when we went back to 1,000, you're all in the top 100, which is you're all good. That's how praise and terms like meritocratic terms and evaluations and judgments work. So this dunce here is just mad that I've implied in any context, even compared to the best players in the world, a woman could ever be bad at a sport. That's what he's mad about. Because this person's brain is so broken by politics, they now can't even do basic evaluations of reality based on their own senses or logic. And they're just wasting their time and everyone else's time with signal noise shite like this that doesn't help anyone, doesn't help them involved, doesn't help me see anything different, isn't even an interesting point or anything that has value. Here's a good one, just a random moron. Good news is, though, and you love when these guys come out. You know when the people come out where they go, I want to be a caster. Well, the best thing you could do is insult me and Richard Lewis. And as a result, ensure that if we ever get a chance, we'll just tell someone you're a dickhead. And we'll definitely never forward your name in the industry. So let's see where this shithead caster goes. So I made a joke about GL. I put GL as the kind of guy to suggest Na'Vi make a tier list of CS2 major winning teams for content day. By the way, a straight fire joke, because one, it's a callback. My joke is like GL's stupid, but in a very specific way. And two, that's a hilarious joke because the joke obviously is there only has been one CS2 major. So to make a tier list, you'd be a moron to suggest that. But GL is a moron, isn't he? And it's the sort of thing, if he didn't think it through, he actually might say, even as a joke, right? So then this moron goes, it's nuts how much of your time you take to shitpost about jail. Yeah, it took seconds. Spoiler, it took me about as much time as it took you to waste your time tweeting about me. And as you'll now find out, you have tweeted about me a bazillion times. I've never interacted with you. This is the first time I'm aware you exist today. Now, what best part about this as well is anyone who actually knows how JL interacted with me will know who interacted first with who, guys. It was JL. JL just out of nowhere tweeted one day, like, you know, every time Thorin posts cloud emoji. Then he'd post a couple more times. And then every time I post and then do nothing and let it die down again, he will post again or say something on stream or come into my stream. He literally comes into my stream and subs to me and makes comments. Now, by the way, that's fine. We actually have sort of like a frenemies type vibe going on, don't we? We're just keeping it nice and fun within the lines. No one's stepping over the bounds. And we're just having some banter back and forwards. He even said on his stream, by the way, it actually did make me laugh. When I actually did a raid and said, like, we can do the, we can do like the fucking reflections one day. He actually said something like, I would think up a joke to say, but it would take me 15 minutes. So I'll just say like, yeah, I'll do it. Which I actually think, this is why he's actually funny, because that's unintentionally funny. He actually doesn't mean like, I'm an idiot, so I can't think. He actually means for real, it would take him 15 minutes to think up a witty response, but he's busy playing the game, so he can't. That's it, actually hilarious. It's inadvertent, but it's actually fucking really funny, isn't it? So, one, it's not even accurate. Like, JL's the one who I lived in his head rent-free long before I ever got involved. And then two, let's just see how weird it is to just shitpost about someone who, in this case, doesn't give a fuck about you, eh? So, September 26th, I put talent pool, because I was trying to imagine if we did a CBS Golatio, so it's kind of like a fucking Flashpoint-esque banter-type broadcast, who would we want? Talent pool would be like me, Maui Snake, this guy goes minus starring plus steel, and we have something here. Yeah, great, I guess, mate. Yeah, brilliant, great. Even though, oh, look, I'm shit again, it turns out. So when I then made a joke about JL, oh, there you go. It's just triggered about JL. It's just a JL fan. Oh, it's all about JL. Yeah, there we go. It's also about JL. Mr. President, get down, please. He's tweeting about you. Get down. I'll dive in front of it, Mr. President, sir. So when I said about JL, he goes, Richard and Maui coming back to the desk. Smiley emoji. Thorin coming back to the desk. Pinocchio emoji. Lying face. Why would lying face be... What you mean is sad. Why would lying face be me? What, we lying? Did I not come back to the desk? Oh, my bad. By the way, you know that whole Esports Masters with that 40-minute... It never happened. If you thought that happened, you should probably check into some sort of like mental health clinic because it never happened. Didn't happen, mate. Another one. Like, he's actually tweeting at me, not even from tweets now. Shaking in his boots, watching his man JL play like this. Again, anyone who's ever followed knows what I'm about to say. The entire time JL has been in Na'Vi, I have called him a big game player who's underrated and is actually good at the game. But their logic is, because I didn't like him insulting me as a person, and then I made fun of him as a person, that means I've said he is shit the whole time, and I hate to my bones when he wins games, even though, checks notes, Na'Vi is my favourite team to watch. It's kind of boring, like dickheads like this. So here's a good one. I put, be really good on Heroic, no room for you on Astralis. Fail with a TL Super Team, welcome to Astralis, maining your worst weapon. So it's about Cadian. This moron goes, I get they were supposed to be good, but how was that iteration of Liquid supposed to be a super team? Right, so you want to cast, so you're going to come onto social media and tweet one of the most famous broadcast talents ever in Counter-Strike history and suggest that he doesn't understand what a super team is, even though I'm essentially, if you think colloquially, one of the people who invented the usage of the term super team in esports. So if you don't know, super team to a bozo moron like this means the team is already the best team in the world, has the best players ever, and will definitely win everything. Now, that would be an absurd premise. That would never be applied. Super team means once the team is formed, it's super in terms of the elements being put together, like an Avengers type scenario. So let's think about who Team Liquid were. So Team Liquid had Twists, who just won a major and a Grand Slam over in FaZe and was a HLTV top 20 player. You had Naf, who's a HLTV top 20 level player and had been pretty good on Liquid and has won a Grand Slam and been a part of another great lineup, one of the better lurker players in the game. You have Cadian, who was considered the best in-game leader in the world at times in 2023 for Heroic and was in a bunch of he was in major final, semis of majors, winning tier 1 lands, one of the best in the world at his role. You had Skulls was like an up-and-coming talent who wouldn't be considered the super element. He was just an up-and-coming player from Brazil. And then who was the last player you had? And Yakindar, when he came over from Virtus Pro years earlier, was considered one of the best players in the world, a HLTV top 20 player, and some people would have had him at the level that I now put exertion from Mouse, maybe 7th best player in the world. That on paper is a super team. And their coach was Zeus, who's won 2 majors and been a part of the Team Liquid 2018, one of the best teams of all time. But no, because this guy's a moron, that can't be a super team because he doesn't know what the term super team is. And it never occurs to him, maybe I just don't know what the term super team is. No, I just must be wrong about everything I've said. So great. I think we can see where this one goes. So I said about this, that they're running the Shanghai broadcast for the major remotely. He put Thorin, Richard and Maui on the desk. This arsehole just goes minus Thorin. 261 followers, by the way. As if this guy hadn't taken enough L's in the 5 minutes of this video. Look who he agrees with, guys. He actually agrees with the guy who says that literally white Americans created oppression and that you can never be racist against white people. And this guy comes in and agrees with that. By the way, speaking of people using cartoons, look at this guy. Enough said. I think we know why you'll never be a famous caster. By the way, I think within 3 months he might have tweeted at me, 10 times now. So I put works for GL. Remember, every time I comment on GL, he comes in like the Secret Service guy trying to take a bullet for him. GL, get down! So, because it said here, being too stupid to feel or even understand pressure must be an elite tool for an athlete. Because it's about Cole Palmer, wasn't it? And I put works for GL. This guy goes, homie is trying so hard to maintain relevance. These guys now, you know what? There's going to be a new term. This is what would you even call it? Clout cock. Because you know what the shit that these guys are into? Instead of pocket watching, they're clout watching. They're sat in the cock chair going, ooh, you think you're getting clout off that, don't you? Ooh, you got a lot of clout off that. Ooh, you're loving that clout, aren't you? It's like, mate, you're like getting off on seeing me get clout in your world. Like, what is this? Why are you like, oh, yeah, go on. Oh, go on, Thorin, you're my clout bull. Go on, fucking give it to GL. Go on. Give GL that fucking banter. Yeah, clout. Oh, you like that clout, don't you? Yeah. You're like, mate, when I'm making jokes, which in your world get me clout, you're basically responding like that leaked fucking Instagram live of fucking Shannon Sharp, like, oh yeah, take it, take it all, like. We have Maui. We don't need you, old man. Spoiler, I just did a desk with Maui. Were me and Maui identical? Was one of us redundant? I wouldn't say so. I thought we did a great job, didn't we? Let's just keep going. Let's keep going. I put my cultural impact on CS has been mental. I remember when in 2015, NIP players were mad I called some of their wins Nip Magic. Then by 2017, they were literally wearing Nip Magic t-shirts to events. This loser who's about to insult me like 10 times over the next 3 months goes, I try so hard to forget you say this shit so I can watch your CS videos, but it's really hard when you jerk yourself off like this, says someone who is in like the GL Defense League. Just so triggered, so impulsive. I wanted to watch your video and enjoy it, but then I just remember you did a tweet pointing out accurately that you had cultural impact. I don't like that. So, I don't know, maybe just move on with your life. I don't know what to tell you. Just maybe just get over it or move on with your life. Like, they seem like the obvious two options, but apparently that's not there for you, is it? And then so instead, even though you're trying really hard, you're just not going to spend all this your time. Minus Thorin. Like, I could post, like, hey, guys, it's my 42nd birthday. He'd be like, minus Thorin for 43rd birthday. Plus Steel for your 42nd birthday. I love it. I actually love it. Let's have a look at this. This is going to be amazing. Let's see. Right, he would have actually cut Hunter and kept Huxley as the IGL. That's all he would have changed. Right, wait a minute. You know Nexa was in that lineup. So are we ready? This guy who wants to be a caster and thinks I'm a clout goblin, one of his first real CS takes was that he would have kept Nexa, he would have kicked Hunter, and he would have just kept Huxley as IGL. So he would have made the team retain its terrible firepower, and he put and bring in more firepower. Doesn't even say a player, just says bring in more firepower. Oh, brilliant, okay. If you say so, mate, whatever you say, right? Love it. Love that shit. This is an amazing one. This is actually amazing. Because first of all, it's another moron that puts their age. This is someone who's 19, and apparently he's a fan of fucking Man United, so we already know they're already a cretin. But this is mental. Because I'll show you, by the way, don't worry, I'll do a 3 clicks video in the future. This is one of the most genius things I did. You know, the majority of 3 Clicks Phillips fans aren't aware that I would suggest he is the character called the Fart Master down here, who has a YouTube video full of disgusting videos of him doing stuff like filming himself saying he's farting onto soiled underwear. That is real. You can go look this all up. So because most of his fans aren't aware of it, what I do is I intentionally reference it as though we all know it. And loads of them, I'll show you later, loads of them wig out and think, because they don't know this is true, think I'm just imagining like a fanfic crazy thing that 3 Clicks Philip does, and I'm the weirdo. So what's brilliant is they all say I'm the pervert and the weirdo, and how demented I am to even think of that. But their hero actually does it in real life, and they just don't know it. So I thought this is a great thought exercise. Think about how people on Reddit behave towards Richard Lewis and everything they think he's done wrong, any minor indiscretion, right? Get ready for this. I said, riddle me this. If Richard Lewis had a fart fetish and a not-so-secret side channel where he clearly relishes being an exhibitionist and farting on soiled underwear or onto women he'd pushed over, that's a real video, do you think 3 Clicks stans, fans of 3 Clicks Philip, would ever mention it? Because remember, they go mad if I mention it. They make it like weird. And it's not. So this person, who's obviously mentally broken, goes, my mother was born in the same year as you. Let's see where this is going. And I can't imagine her saying that. Right? What's mental is that's because this person is so fucking broken, they think I made it up. So basically her logic is, my mother was born in the same year as you, so she would never say a fact about reality that's contextually relevant. What's the diss? It's because she's so mental, she thinks I've invented that 3 Clicks Philip has the fart fetish. That's how dumb this person is. Hey, my mum was born the same year as you, so she just wouldn't mention something relevant that would be really embarrassing about a person that I like on the internet. Okay, what do you want? A cookie and then a slap in the face, you moron? What are you talking about, you imbecile? What's the relevance? Yeah, but my mum's the same age as you and she doesn't behave the same as you. Oh, you mean a woman who's a mother doesn't behave the same way as me, a man who just happens to be born the same year and has a totally different job and is posting on Twitter? By the way, does your mum post on Twitter? Because there's another thing I'm really sick and tired of. You're not thinking, hey, my dad's your age, he wouldn't behave that way. You have no idea how your dad would behave on Twitter if he was a famous individual interacting with a dickhead like you. Here's the idea. Get your mum to come on Twitter and have some dickhead like you, 19-year-old bozo knows nothing, just come on and say nonsense. Like if she says a fact like, hey, I don't like this prime minister and he did this really corrupt thing with his last regime, just come in and go, hey, Thorin was born the same year as you and he doesn't post about the Tories. Be like, what would the relevance be? Shout out to For Hernus for subscribing. Good one, right? Great stuff. Don't worry though, this moron, plenty more going on. So get ready. Are you ready? Maui said, shout out to Elisa for bringing together a desk that'll likely never be assembled again and for giving us the freedom to let loose. So this moron, who's already been a moron, goes, Elisa Masters Esports 2025. No, you don't like me, you moron. You've just implied earlier, and you will, as I then show you, say shitty things. But now magically you're a fan. You want to see me on a desk next year? Let's see. Even though the same person before the event said Richard Lewis, Thorin and Maustick, blunt nightmare rotation. As in, like, we're just morons you'd never want to see on a desk all at once. But then the same person, hey, same desk next year. I tell you what, I think your mother did make some mistakes 19 years ago, but it wasn't tweets about the context of 3 clips, Philip, was it? It was other things that were mistakes. In fact, some would say what your mother has done to the world in esports is ruder than what I said in my comment about 3 clips. I just said an appropriate thing, framing an interesting thought experiment. Your mother created a shithead called Amelia, who's now just being a dickhead saying any old shite on the internet. I would say your mother's ruder and less mature. She hasn't even been able to raise her child to be not a total twat. So I think I'm going to say I win that one. 1-0, me and Amelia... And Amelia's mom, there you go. Amelia's mom, you just got donked on. 1-0. Let's see this. This is going to be something amazing. So this was just like a Minecraft fucking AI edit. This is the best thing I've seen in my life. Thank you. I believe that. I actually do believe that. Yeah, I believe it. Here's a good one. So Gel won the major with guns that on them, he's crafted them to say Thorin's dick. So I pointed that out. This person, okay, we didn't need this one and the next ones as well. Do you know what? By all definitions, since we're not your mum, we don't need you to be alive in this world. Did you know that? By the way, people do need me. They need me for entertainment. There's people I work with. People literally rely on me to put food in their mouth. You're not needed at all in esports. Nothing you ever tweet or say or do in esports will ever be necessary or required. In fact, I'd even go further and say, or add any value to the space. I at least even made a funny joke that was both culturally relevant and historically relevant. This is literally factual. It did happen. Another GL fan, of course. So when GL said this, get his ass for me, for you. For you. You're the same moron saying, hey, Esports Masters desk next year. That's how much meaning your fucking statements have. Is less than a year later? You moron. That was the classic one back there. By the way, can you even imagine the levels of like fucking male feminists like stay away from this guy at a party like haha holy W, look at his face, holy W, I said yes queen, slay queen, oh you need somewhere to stay tonight, oh well I've got like an extra bed in my room, you know just as friends you can always still, hey oh should we drink something out of the mini, but you fucking creep bro, that face right there, like police have found 4 bodies so far in the allotment. They will continue digging in the search for the other 3 missing girls. Fucking hell, bro. Fucking hell. The idea you have so little awareness you'd even post that as your profile picture. Holy shit. But anyway, here's another good one. By the way, would have been 18 at the time of this post. So I did a joke here where when Rops played awesome, I said a woman passed Rops in the street and her arm brushed against his. In that moment, Rops wept because he knew this woman had never played on a 128-tick server in her life. It's just a funny joke about how Jesus worked. And in the Bible, there's a famous story where a woman comes up and intentionally touches Jesus' arm and a little bit of power drains out of him and like heals her or something. And he turns around and has like an interesting interaction with her. So this moron who knows nothing is talking about her mum and what I'm saying and then worshipping jail just goes, on behalf of the CS community. You don't say anything on behalf of the CS community except, sorry that I exist, a totally unnecessary, worthless sack of shit whose mother just wasted, basically just pissed in the face of the world 19 years ago. On behalf of the CS community, we apologise for him. Right, my post, darling, has 1.5k likes. Your post has 6 likes. You apologise for nothing, including you still have yet to apologise for your own existence, which has yet to ever add a net gain to esports or anyone's life that I'm aware of. That's just all you've got going on, innit? Oh-ho. Okay. I mean, I actually think this more meant uh-oh, but they're just an imbecile, aren't they? So, kind of a winner. Dr. Dre had NWA, DMX had the Rough Riders, and who is the crew holding me down, supporting me when necessary? It is, of course, my Patreon subscribers, the Scrutiny. So this video, along with all the others on my channel, is kindly supported by Matt Pugnatio Rajcula, Animosity, Bane Diesel, Jason, Jensen Goh, Tosh, Toucan, and you know who a special thanks goes out to because it's always my main man, Jerky's Minion. Do you want to ask a question for my video AMA? Do you want to find out who are going to be the guests on future interview episodes? Do you want to know who the guests are on my talk shows? Or maybe you'd like to suggest a topic or a guest? Perhaps you even want to take part in one of those lengthy, tailored to you discussions around esports that I do with the top tier donators. If any of those perks or others catch your fancy, then put your money where your mouth is, support me and join the Scrutiny today via the Patreon link where in the description box below.